What's going on, fellow A-plusers? It is I, your more phenomenal host, as always, Adam Perez, coming through once again with a brand new DonBrothers review, as we're about to go ahead and get into episode number 5 as we continue along with this brand new Super Sentai season for this year. And another fantastic episode, if you ask me, here this week. I think while we didn't necessarily get a ton of DonBrothers action, if you will, in their suits, I really thought that this episode was excellent in regards to just character growth, finally getting a lot of our characters together in one room, bringing the team together in their very coincidental way, if you will, constantly bumping into each other. Clearly, they certainly do have a bond, something that Don Momotaro seems to point out each time he winds up bumping into them. But I love the idea of getting them all under sort of the same roof, kind of picking each other's brains, learning a little bit more about each of our characters, if you will, learning a little bit more about the purpose, if you will, of what Don Momotaro is certainly trying to do, not only for others but for himself as well. So some really great eye-opening stuff, some fun here too to kind of see these characters finally interacting, if you will, also, and it really did go a long way for me personally to enjoy some of these characters. And of course, we did get ourselves a great Zord battle towards the very end. But overall, I was actually pretty impressed with this episode, considering maybe little action and more character development. They definitely did not lose any momentum, if you ask me, when it comes to it. So I've been a really big fan of the writing team that they certainly have so far. I will say this, for me, the insight really comes from two characters that I enjoyed this episode. Inu Brother, along with Momotaro as well. When it comes to Inu Brother, the fact that he continues to be on the run, very much a fugitive. One of the things that we learn about Inu Brother in here is that, according to him, I think that the worst violation this guy has had in his life was that of like a speeding ticket. But the fact that he's become almost like a #1 fugitive, I think just goes to show you just the level of bad luck that this guy has certainly had, probably ever since he wound up getting his sunglasses. So he clearly continues to plead his innocence in here, but they're definitely out here trying to capture this guy. I mean, we even get the opportunity to see the police sergeant, if I'm not mistaken, a couple of detectives hunting him down, running after him, to the point where even the police sergeant, whose like job seemingly is on the line, is so desperate to try and capture Inu Brother in here that he actually winds up turning into one of our digital yokai at the very end of this. Luckily for Don Momotaro and our DonBrothers, they are able to successfully rescue him this time around. But I thought that was pretty interesting that this guy was so focused and determined. So I guess maybe his greed level was so high to try and capture Inu Brother here. I think somebody said he might be potentially up for like a raise or a promotion or whatever the case may be. So very much his job was certainly on the line. So you definitely get to see how the sergeant was certainly pushed to his particular limits. But I did find that relatively interesting in here. When it comes to Inu Brother too, while he doesn't necessarily tell us why he's being accused of a crime, he definitely is holding that very much close to his chest, mentioning the idea that what he did was certainly a secret, that if he can hold on to this secret, I think for the what did he say, for the time period of about a year, if I'm not mistaken, that he's able to then get the love of his life back, who he refers to in here as Natsumi. He says, I put in my notes, won't admit what he's accused of if he can get this, if he can keep the secret and stay out of custody for a year. So he's got to be on a run for a whole year. They will let her go. Who's they specifically? I am kind of curious. He references Natsumi as the woman that he certainly loves. So I definitely have some questions in here. Who's they? Who has captured her? Is it the brain people? Is it the brain persons? Is it a bigger organization of people that we don't really know? Is he talking about the police? You know what I mean? So I definitely have some questions that I certainly would like to find out. But if there's anything that we did learn about Inu Brother, he clearly seems to be innocent. People certainly have come to believe him after their interaction with him in here. So we'll see exactly if Inu Brother can ever prove that he is in fact innocent, and then certainly help him out. What I did really enjoy about this episode too was just Inu Brother's interaction with Momotaro, having him pop up here in the delivery work office space, which honestly, when they all get inside the building, at first I don't think I even realized or picked up on it being the workplace of Don Momotaro, but once he actually arrives, it starts all kind of making sense with all the packages and things like that were certainly around. But I really love the idea of him scolding Inu Brother for opening up one of the packages, even taking him to the lady's house who the package was supposed to be delivered to, and have him apologize, had homeboy scrubbing the toilets to go ahead and make up for the food that he certainly wound up eating, right? So Momotaro definitely doesn't play around when it comes to the idea of his good fortune and making sure that people are certainly happy, and really putting people in their place if they certainly do something they're certainly not supposed to. Very much that like parent figure, if you will, but Momotaro certainly does not play around in that aspect. But I love what he was able to do with Inu Brother in there. Plus, a sidebar real quick honorable mention, that punch that Inu Brother winds up giving Momotaro doesn't even phase the man, doesn't flinch, doesn't grunt, nothing, almost like he's impenetrable. I would like to see if that can be explained just a little bit more. But the moment that really got to me was really the idea of Momotaro expressing his lack of happiness. I love the fact that he calls out the rest of his team for being very selfish. And it's funny, L'Oreal from A Plus More Phenomenal, our live chats and stuff, and she pops up in here also during the reviews. One of the things she asked me this past week was, what's a trait that really stands out for a leader of Power Rangers or Super Sentai? And one of the answers that I gave her was selflessness, right? The idea of putting other people first, if you will. I thought Kaido was a really great example of that. And we get the opportunity to see here that Momotaro is kind of the example of that also, right? The idea of calling people out for their selfishness, putting themselves first instead of others, when it should certainly be the other way around. And again, we got ourselves a great flashback, but the fact of knowing what Momotaro's life as a child was like really does go a long way in kind of understanding that, right? That even though he had great intentions of helping people, people took his help very negatively, and they wind up running away from him, not wanting to be anywhere near him. So when we see moments like in this episode when it's Momotaro's birthday and nobody shows up to celebrate his birthday, we clearly understand how he has come into that point of having a life without fully understanding happiness, right? He says, I don't understand what happiness is, so I want to make other people happy, and in turn hopefully learn how to be happy himself. And I think the idea of knowing that you're pleasing people, making people's day, seeing them bring a smile on their face in some way, shape, or form should be able to bring you happiness and be able to feel what that feeling sort of is. And there's something just really sad about that sort of mentality, that while I appreciate what he's trying to do, the fact that he never had that childhood to experience that happiness, I think is really what gets me more than anything when it comes to Momotaro's story. So a very sad story, if you will, but to be able to see how he's turning it around and using it for the betterment of other people's lives and hopefully learning something from it too, I think that was a great lesson, and something that even Oni's sister at the end seemingly understands and learns about Momotaro as well. And so, just that key point of happiness in this episode really brings forward the idea of Inu Brother also forgetting what it was like to be happy, right? Remembering Natsumi, how she celebrated his birthday all the time, and I think the day was in fact his birthday. So I love the fact that the crew and the whole entire team really went that extra mile to stop thinking about themselves for just a brief moment and allow somebody to have sort of their moment in the sun with Inu Brother and celebrating his birthday with him. It actually gave me some chills and some little goosebumps. I thought it was just a really sentimental moment for them, and the fact of just seeing Inu Brother just cry because of happiness, something that he hasn't experienced in such a long time, and seeing people care about him, I thought made for a really great moment, not just for Inu along with Momotaro, but for the entire team. I really enjoyed that moment that we wind up getting in here. Other couple mentions in here when it comes to the other characters. Oni's sister, we quickly come to find out that she believes that Inu Brother is trying to capture her and keep her as a hostage. I think he even plays up the role of being in love with her, sort of thing. And considering the conversation that Oni's sister had in this episode early on about needing more life experiences to perhaps maybe write better manga so that she doesn't get blamed for plagiarism anymore, I did find it rather humorous that Oni's sister's role in this is to just go along with everything that Inu Brother is doing, even though she doesn't know the full or true capacity to it, right? Like, I love the fact that when we do get somebody like Oni's sister along with Kiji Brother in the same room, the fact that you've got Oni's sister who is so adamant on staying and being stuck as a hostage, where you've got Kiji on the other hand that just wants to do everything just to escape, and the fact that Oni's sister trying to like trip him up. I think I love the idea of her pulling the plug out of the phone so he can't call anybody. The fact that Kiji tries to run outside to get the attention of the detectives, and Inu Brother comes up and like just covers his mouth and pulls him back in like he's really a hostage, sort of thing. So I just love the polar opposites of how Kiji Brother along with Oni's sister really handled the situation in here at the end of the day. So we'll see, you know, the idea of like the fact that Oni's sister was even trying to emphasize getting a getaway car so they can get out of this. I mean, she really went above and beyond, but it really made for a humorous couple of moments here in this episode, honestly. So definitely some life experiences that she's certainly acquiring there, to certainly say the least. The action in here was actually pretty good, even though we didn't have a lot of big bombastic action. Like, the enemy of the week here actually was taken care of with relative ease, if you will, at the very end of this episode. I even love the maneuver that Momotaro does when he winds up wrapping up Inu Brother, who's already transformed. I believe at this point they've used Avatar gears to transform into the real soldier team, if I'm not mistaken. And I love how Momotaro comes along and he connects his sword to the blaster to transfer the real soldier gear to his he either transfers the gear to his sword or just the ability gets copied and transferred into the sword, and he's able to go ahead and unleash an amazing final attack that we've seen Code do several times, I believe, from real soldier. So I thought that was actually a pretty cool move and something that I didn't know that his sword can do in regards to utilizing the Avataro gears from somebody else's. I actually thought that was actually pretty cool to kind of see. And then of course the Zord battle towards the end continues to knock me on my ass every time I watch it. I just love the battle sequences in here. I truly do. But overall, really enjoyable episode. Again, I think for me, the moneymaker was all the great character work, further insight into Inu Brother, further clarification in regards to Momotaro and his life, and really seeing this group of characters finally together in the same, under the same roof, getting the opportunity to work amongst each other. So I thought overall, excellent episode once again when it comes to DonBrothers. But listen, at the end of the day, these are just simply my A+ opinions. I certainly want to go ahead and know yours. If I did have any honorable mention, the last one would probably be the brain persons or the brain people. I am a little bit confused at the very end of this, where we see them staring up at all the paintings and Sonoi destroying the Mona Lisa. I am a little bit confused on what the destruction of the Mona Lisa at the end means. I did read somewhere on Twitter, somebody referenced the idea that, when you see them walking into the room, I think it's Sonoza and Sononi. I think Sononi is the one that says, oh, these five again, or something like that. And I believe somebody on Twitter, I think it was Sentai 5, was referencing the idea that he thinks they were talking about the paintings, maybe not so much the DonBrothers, but he believed, or Sentai 5 believed, that the paintings, the 5 paintings, represented the DonBrothers. I'm not sure how I feel about that theory. It's absolutely possible, but there were other paintings in that room with them against another wall, like 5 other paintings. So I don't know if they're representations of our DonBrothers or not, because there were a couple other paintings up there besides the Mona Lisa. Like, Could the Mona Lisa represent happiness, therefore represent Don Momotaro? Possibly. You know, the other painting they have up there, the Last Supper, I'm trying to think who the Last Supper would even, like, what does that represent? And does that represent one of the actual rangers themselves? I don't know. I think there might be a little bit more to it from Sonoi's point of view. I believe from some of the character descriptions, I thought he was a lover of art and things like that. So maybe he's got a little bit of a collection of himself, but why destroy the Mona Lisa? That I don't know. This series definitely has given me some questions that I think hopefully will certainly be answered as the season progresses. But this one definitely has me. But I would like to know some of your guys' theories if you know why Sonoi wind up destroying one of those paintings. Was it a representation of the Don brothers or something else entirely? Go ahead and let me know your thoughts in the live chat or the comment section box below. But this show continues to ride the positive and fantastic wave of momentum, and something that I am definitely continuing to enjoy. But yeah, guys, at the end of the day, I want to know your thoughts. What did you guys think? Let your thoughts be known in the live chat or the comment section box below. The comments really do go a long way for our algorithm, and we'll definitely continue this discussion until next week's review. But until then, guys, do me a favor, as always, take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.